Hey guys, Mike B. Rolling here. Kind of a dark, I hope the image comes out okay, but I'm sitting inside of a building waiting on them to come back from lunch so they can get me loaded and I can get home. But I had a comment. A guy posted a comment. I'm still chuckling over it. He asked me to do a video on some of the lies that recruiters tell drivers to get them to come to work at their company. Brother, I could talk on this all freaking day. How long of a video are we gonna make it? I've heard some real humdingers in my time, but the one thing I can say is most of what they're telling you, recruiters as a general rule really don't know what you're going to be doing. They're given guidelines by their bosses, we need drivers in this area and we'll get them home weekly, or home often. A lot of times they'll use those vague terms: frequent home time, home often. That's no. Yeah, you want to look at a company. I would anyway. I would look at a company that'd be like, home. If they even say most weekends, no, you don't understand. I'm home every weekend. If I got to bounce 300 miles, I'm home every weekend at a bare minimum. But that was back in the early days. Living where I live, there's a lot of smaller local stuff. Or local. Of course, now he's coming back from break, but yeah, there's no need to be out on the road like that. These companies will, these new guys, they're promising them the stars and the moon, and most of what they're telling you is going to be false or misleading at the very least, if not an outright lie. All I can really do is tell you the basics. Don't drive for the mileage. When they tell you, oh, we promise you'll get a minimum pay of 2,500 miles a week. Even if you only run 1,000, we'll pay you for 2,500. You don't want to run a mileage carrier anyway. That's the worst way to do it, because they're going to shave miles on all the trips. Oh, it's zip code to zip code. Well, have you seen how big some of these freaking counties are? The zip code is off the county seat. And if you're loading on the east side of this county and you're taking it to the west side of this county, you just lost almost 10% of miles. Yeah, they use PC Miler and Rand McNally and Better Home Movers Guide and all that. Yeah, no, that's I got over that crap years ago. Don't run mileage. You're going to get hosed. Stay away from it. Go with a carrier that's going to be upfront and honest. We'll tell you when we offer the load, what the load pays, how many miles it is, and when it's got to pick up, when it's got to be there. The rest is up to you. That's the kind of carrier you want to look for. It's transparent. Here's the rate. Here's the load. It's this many miles. And you already know from the time you sign up, you get X number percentage, you get 100% of the fuel surcharge, and most of them will tell you, the load pays X amount and the fuel surcharge this week's, 25, 27%, whatever, and you can run all the numbers, and figure out, hey, a pretty decent paying load, or, I think I'm gonna pass. But right now I wouldn't be passing on much. I'd be taking anything that's even remotely decent, grab it and go, man, because it's pretty rough out here. I've said it before, and I'll say it 1,000 times until we start getting better. It's pretty rough out here. Don't turn down loads. Just keep your head down, stay positive, and haul every load you can get your little mitts on. Just take it. But no, there's so many freaking lies. I wouldn't even know where to freaking start, man. Just promising you that you're going to be one of the biggest ones is when you work for us, you're part of the family. Yeah, right. You're depending on how big they are. Most of the time, if you deal with one dispatcher, eventually he'll get to know your name. But most of the time, that whole part of the family crap, no, they'll fire you just as fast as they'll fire anybody else. And then what am I now, a second cousin twice removed part of the family? What the hell? Yeah, don't fall for any of that. You're not just a number, you're a name working for us. You're going to be a number and a statistic with the insurance company. That company might love you to death, but at the end of the day, it comes down to what the insurance company says about you. How many points you have on your DAC report. What kind of a record do you have? Yep, you're a good driver. Then they'll hire you. Then you got to keep them happy, your company happy. Yeah, he's dependable, he hauls the loads, whatever, you'll go far. But, he's kind of a whiner, and he's sick every other day, and twice a month he has to miss a load because he's sick and blah blah blah. You're not going to go far. They're not going to bend over backwards to help you get out of a situation if you're not the kind of guy they can absolutely depend on. To haul a load. I tell people that the most dispatchers will tell you and even if they don't know the terminology, because I'm kind of old school and I use a lot of metaphors, but some of them a little on the dark side. But you basically, to be a good truck driver, you want to be a ghost. You want to be someone that you call them looking for a load. Hey, I'm empty. I'm in this town. I'm empty, you know, or I will be empty, blah, blah, blah. You know, you let them know where you're at, what you're looking for. They give you the load and you tell them, all right, I'm on it. And that's all they hear from you. They don't, if they have to they know they're not going to hear from you unless something's wrong or you're going to be late or something like that. If it's pertinent information that they need to know, you will call them. If not, you're not going to pester them. You're not going to bother them. They can hand you that load and then focus all their attention on the next problem and not have to worry about you. You're the ghost. You're the driver that, it's quick, it's easy, it's done. They can consider that load delivered unless they hear otherwise. And if anything's going to go wrong, you always let them hear otherwise. Always call them. Communication, that number one. But as far as, you know, lies that they tell, my God, they're going to exaggerate. Assume that, I would safely say, assume that half to 3/4 of everything they tell you is either an exaggeration or an outright falsehood, or, you know, lack of knowledge. You know, they like to claim that, oh, well, you know, I'm sorry, I didn't know that situation, or what. No. They're given specific guidelines. This is the running area. We need X number of people in the seat. Get them. And then they're given basically free reign to go out and make up whatever the hell they want to make up just to make you sign on with them. And well, let me give you a case in point. If you see a company that's offering a big sign-on bonus, $5,000 sign-on bonus, I wouldn't work for them anyway. If they got to bribe you to work for them, they've got a high turnover rate, and I don't want no part of that. I want a company that I have to go searching for, because they're not out there advertising for drivers. They've got plenty of drivers, but they could always use one or two more good ones. You know what I mean? That's what I look for. I don't fall for that sign-on bonus crap. Don't, you know, it's bribery. And the reason they have to bribe people to come to them is because they've got so many people quitting for some reason or another. Either they don't pay good enough, they're stringing their drivers out, leaving them out on the road, sitting for multiple days with no loads, blah, 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 which I would never do, even as a driver. I don't give a crap. If I drive for somebody, they need to understand I'm not going to wait on load. I'll give you a few hours, but if there's nothing in the area I'm in within a few hours, we're going to pick an area that looks better, and I'm heading. You let me know which direction you want me to go, but I'm heading. I'm not sitting. I just don't do that. It's a good way to wind up sitting there for an entire day waiting on a load that may never show up. And, you know, the way you know that is you'll do it 2 or 3 times, and then eventually you'll figure out, man, they want me to sit and call them back this afternoon? No, get me the hell out of this area. I'm gone, man. Where's the nearest load at? Just start heading me that way. But yeah, as far as lies, there's so many you couldn't even count them, man. It looks like they're getting ready to hop on the forklift and come get me loaded. So we'll just cut her off there and call it not a real informational video, but just assume that most of what they're telling you is a lie. And the best thing I could recommend is talk to some of their drivers. Have them give you the names of 3 or 4 drivers. And, oh, yeah, that dude's going to take down power lines. You better lower that bed, driver. Guy's got his dump bed, roll-off truck. He's got his bed all the way in the air driving through the parking lot. And I know there's power lines right here. So we might be losing power here real shortly if that idiot doesn't realize what he's doing. But yeah, just assume most of what they're telling you is a lie. Ask them to talk to some of their drivers, or just, you know, the best way to do it is walk out into the shop or out into the yard or the waiting room, break room, whatever, and just randomly talk to a couple of drivers and start asking them questions. When there's bosses around, they'll tell you the truth. That'll tell you most of what you need to know. Anyway, I got to go. We'll catch y'all later.